What's up, Barnhill family, and welcome back to your home for all things combat sports.
Yo.
Well, Fiziev versus Gaethje delivered pretty much as we expected it to. I did think Rafael Fiziev was going to get the better of Justin in that fight, but my goodness, his hands looked better than ever, and he was super calculated, confident, and precise. What a great performance by Justin Gaethje.
Yeah, another bonus added to his repertoire. I mean, he's constantly getting a bonus. I don't think since he signed with the UFC that he's fought and didn't get some form of a bonus, whether it's knockout of the night or fight of the night or a mixture of both. So this one was just like anything else. Every time you see Justin Gaethje walk out there, you know it's going to be the best fight of the night. You know it's going to be ultra competitive, and he's not getting any easy matchups. And everybody realized after that last time we saw Rafael Fiziev out that he's ready for the absolute best that lightweight has to offer, and nobody's been a gatekeeper at 155 for longer than Justin Gaethje has. So I personally think this was a big test for Rafael Fiziev, and he looked like he could absolutely hang with the top 5, top 3 of lightweight, but man, it's really hard to get the highlight out of there. And when he starts to turn up and get ready for those final minutes of the fight for that third round in this situation, but if this would have gone 5 rounds, he was just then getting started and really starting to pick up his pace. I think that he's a nightmare matchup for pretty much everybody at 55, and I can't wait to see what Justin Gaethje does next on his run to the top.
Yeah, he said this is his one final run to the title. He's 34 years old now. He's been doing this a long time. Fighting the way that he fights, you don't tend to have a whole lot of longevity in the sport. I don't see him being like Glover Teixeira doing this at 42. He's got another 2 years and then he's out. I quite frankly think that Justin Gaethje will retire on his next loss. That is my early prediction because he's now made it very apparent that he's going to make this run for the title. And when that's over, it's curtains for him. And what an amazing career it has been. I think that he looked better than he's ever looked in his life before. And as you said, Rafael Fiziev absolutely showed us that he's ready to be in and competing with the top 5. The majority of Justin's last fights have been for titles. He's come up short in most of them, but he is a title contender, a consummate title contender. His name is always in the mouth of the matchmakers when you're talking about number 1 contenders fights, title fights, interim title fights, whatever the case may be. Justin Gaethje's at the top of the list for all of that. But fundamentally, what he did tonight was beautiful with his boxing. We know Trevor Whitman, his coach, is one of the best boxing and striking minds in the game. And I do think that Rafael Fiziev is a bit more of a complete striker when you talk about the full gamut of kicks, knees, elbows, clinch work, short punches, fighting at a distance. But Justin was able to overcome all of that with some really brilliant and really beautiful boxing. And I will just say his wrestling looked good. He got himself a takedown. And I think he should do that more often because when he faked the takedown in the second round, then he was able to land that overhand over the top, which made Rafael Fiziev think a little bit like, hey, okay, this guy's mixing in wrestling now. And that's exactly how Khabib was able to catch Conor and flash knock him down in their fight. It was that almost like surprise element of, hey, I'm going to wrestle you and then I'm going to throw something heavy over the top. So I think Justin, even if he doesn't want to commit to being a wrestler in there, he definitely should implement some fakes and some attempts more often because it really opened up the striking for him.
Absolutely. And what I'll say about the takedowns is as long as you're showing them and people know that you have the wrestling background like Justin Gaethje has, the threat of the takedown works just as much as the actual takedown itself. If Rafael Fiziev has to worry about a level change, if he has to take his hands away from his face and away from defending for just a moment, that can free up some timing and some opportunities for Justin Gaethje. So it was really nice to see him doing that. It's what everybody in the UFC and everybody that's a fan of the UFC has wanted to see Justin Gaethje do. It's like, God, we love to watch people stand and bang, but this guy could be a champion if he would just take people down because of the way judges look at takedowns and how important they see them, when it comes to their reflection on the scorecard. So I think that very end of the fight, takedown that he got at the very end of the third round was a beautiful idea for him to absolutely steal a round that he was already well ahead of. But you never really know when the judges are, watching a fight that's a true war, which way they're swaying. They could be, thinking opposite of what you think or what your corner thinks. And you got to go out there and just, seal it and make sure it absolutely goes in your favor. And a takedown oftentimes can be what does that for you. And in my opinion, if we're going to talk about all the things Justin Gaethje did right and all the things that he should do for the remainder of his career, we also got to talk a little bit about what Fiziev did, because Rafael Fiziev in the first round might have been the most lethal striker we've seen at 155. That was Rafael Fiziev on a whole nother level. He looked so sharp, and he was able to deal with Justin Gaethje turning it into a dogfight. Anytime you get in there and there's two technical wizards and they're fighting each other, it's usually a pretty slow, calculated technical match. When you have somebody like Justin Gaethje who's in there and he's just going to make it a dogfight, make it ugly, get inside, fire from inside real tight, make you bleed, make you sweat, all that stuff, you can't help but jump into a dogfight. And I love that Rafael Fiziev realized that and got right into the mix with Justin Gaethje and started throwing those close range hooks, the dirty boxing, all the stuff that Justin Gaethje can bring out of opponents. Rafael Fiziev didn't bat an eye. He was in there from start to finish with one of the best MMA fighters on the planet. And I do think that the future for Rafael Fiziev is a bright one, and he will probably reach the belt at some point. But Justin Gaethje is certainly no easy night in the office.
Yeah, no doubt. And Rafael Fiziev did jump right in there with that ugly fight in the clinch, throwing those short elbows, those short hooks. His speed is something else, man. He has got some of the fastest hands and kicks in the game. When he lets them fly, he really lets them go. And he does it in combinations. He's not one of those single strike kind of guys. If Rafael Fiziev is throwing, he's committing to standing right where he is and throwing 3 or 4 shots before he moves and resets, which makes him a really exciting fighter. And he's got the speed, power, and athleticism to do that. Justin Gaethje was just the better, sharper fighter tonight, and he was able to overcome the full gamut of Fiziev's tools with some really good wrestling fakes and feints, with some good boxing and some good footwork. Justin Gaethje was able to get it done, so credit to him. That was an awesome fight. I wouldn't say fight of the year just yet, but that was certainly fight of the night. Both men deserve the $50K that they're going home with, and I think both men have a bright future. Justin Gaethje's not so long as Fiziev's, but I think Fiziev will go back and correct some things, and he'll come back a better fighter for having fought Justin Gaethje.
Agreed. And hopefully Justin Gaethje can get on a bit of a win streak, because the world of MMA without Justin Gaethje competing in it is a world I don't want to see anytime soon. I want to see him get some of these massive fights, the Conor McGregors, the title fights, whoever it may be. Justin Gaethje's always going to add something to the highlight reel. And for that, I'm so grateful to have him in the UFC.
No better and no more fitting fight name in all of the sport. The human highlight, Justin Gaethje. Amazing performance.